How's it going? It's been a while. Okay, so I just saw The Lost City. It is the new romantic comedy that stars Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Sandra Bullock's cleavage. Yeah, it's a joke, but it's also kind of true, because at least for like 2/3 of the movie, that's all you're looking at. Because, and I get it, she's in this like ridiculous outfit, and from a screenwriting standpoint, I totally understand putting a character that's going to be in this outlandish scenario also in an uncomfortable outfit. It's just one of those tropes. Kind of like Bruce Willis losing his shoes in Die Hard. This movie's not like Die Hard, though. If you don't know and you haven't seen the trailers, the real quick spoiler-free synopsis is that Sandra Bullock plays this romance novelist, and Channing Tatum plays the model that is the character Dash that appears on every cover of the novels that she writes. She ends up getting kidnapped by Harry Potter and whisked away to this island where he's discovered that there's this lost city with this fire crown or ruby crown, or this crown made of gems that's worth a fortune that he wants to find, and he believes that Sandra Bullock's character will be able to decipher the hieroglyphics or whatever that's been left behind, yada, 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 yada. After she gets kidnapped, Channing Tatum, as the model, thinks it's a great idea that he's gonna go rescue her, well, with the help of this guy that he met that Brad Pitt plays, and it's a whole thing. So right off the top, we got a pretty all-star cast, right? Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt, Daniel Radcliffe. Those are all pretty good names, and honestly, I did enjoy this movie. It's not great or without its share of flaws, but Sandra Bullock's really good at what she does. And coming off the heels of something like Unforgiven, which was a really serious movie, this is nice popcorn fluff, and I totally get it if she was trying to cleanse her palate. Far more along the lines of stuff like Miss Congeniality or The Proposal, and a little bit like The Heat. All three of those movies are far superior to The Lost City, but it still has its moments of enjoyment. There are moments in this movie that had me absolutely laughing out loud at the utter ridiculousness of what's going on the screen. And that is thanks to the comedic timing and physical comedy that both Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum can pull off. And a lot of the movie is sort of weighted on their chemistry. Unfortunately, their chemistry, at least to me, was very hit and miss. When it's on, and it's really good. But when it's off, it's just kind of ugh. And the reason why I said it's kind of a romantic comedy, but more of a comedy, is that when they're being romantic, that's when the chemistry kind of felt off to me, or when the movie decides to devolve into really obvious and painful sex and body jokes. Like there's this scene where Sandra Bullock basically just stares at Channing Tatum's junk for like, I don't know, a good 20 seconds, and she's just talking to herself and just like felt that everything that had come before it, which was pretty good, pretty funny, is just now not being paid off with this very weak joke. And then that immediately continued with this other scene with the villains that are chasing them, where they're talking about one guy's grandmother used to tell him a story about the island sucking people off. Like, it kind of all of a sudden felt cheap, and I got really worried that the rest of the movie was going to be like that. Thankfully, that's not the case, and one scene with a hammock later, we're back on track. Like, it's one of those movies where you can tell that the cast involved probably were having a better time than you are watching it. Sounds a lot worse out loud than it did in my head. But I stand by it. I didn't buy the romantic angle between Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock like at all, but majority of the humor in this movie, spot on. It's a painstakingly obvious movie. Like, you can call what's going to happen hours before it happens. Daniel Radcliffe as the villain, he really chewed the scenery, and in an entertaining way, but he sure didn't come across as threatening. And that was probably the point of the movie, because he was a villain that had money, so he could afford to surround himself with muscle. It still just kind of felt like it wasn't pushed enough. And I could actually say that for the rest of the movie. I was surprised at how much it pushed the envelope. I thought going into this movie it was going to be pretty family-friendly fare, let's put it that way. And it's got its fair share of violence, death, and a little bit of language. And as much as I enjoyed that because it caught me off guard, in the end, I think they should have pushed that envelope even further and gone into the territory of stuff like The Heat or The Ugly Truth. Like, those R-rated movies are far more entertaining than movies that just play it safe. But there's a couple moments in this movie where it's, oh, that happened. I knew it was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be that graphic. And then there's a great joke where two characters are talking about a clear murder that just happened. I enjoyed that scene, but again, it just made me think, like, Why aren't we just going all in? Let's just have these characters curse. Let's be a little bit more grotesque. Let's have a little bit more potty humor, because you can tell that they're trying to, they're flirting with that idea, but they never go all the way. And in the end, I think that ended up hurting the movie. For me, The Lost City is a 6 out of 10. It's not perfect. I'm probably not going to remember much of it, but it's still enjoyable. And if you like stuff like The Rundown or even Jungle Cruise, if the Jungle Cruise got a little naughty, then you're probably going to enjoy The Lost City as well. Sandra Bullock is always entertaining, and Channing Tatum, he's going to take his shirt off for you ladies out there. So have you seen The Lost City? If you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.